Well, welcome back to Finance Uncut. On today's episode, could silver be revalued to $2,937? So I did this video entitled 40K Gold in Reset, where Luke Groman argues that there will be a reset using gold, and he argues it for the reasons that our debt to GDP being around 130%, we need to get it down to 70 or under. And so he argues here that what the Treasury will want is, let's say they want 10 or 12 trillion dollars. Well, how do you do that? Well, you just revalue gold to $40,000 to $50,000. Have the Federal Reserve, credit the TGA account that $10-12 trillion based on the amount of gold they have. Maybe Treasury issues some gold certificates, whatever, and then the Fed holds them on their balance sheet. And then, so the Treasury could then do one or two things. They could then use that to pay down the debt and reduce the debt to GDP that way, or they could spend it. They could spend that 10 to 12 trillion into the economy, increased the economy in nominal terms, and so reduce the debt to GDP that way. Obviously, that's going to be highly inflationary, extremely inflationary. So if they do that, then yeah, you'll want to own gold and silver and other inflationary hedged assets. But that's Luke's kind of argument in this video. I then did another video entitled Gold 50,000 and Silver ? And in here, I shared Jim Rickard's book, The New Case for Gold, and how basically Jim argues for a reset to a gold standard. And basically he argues, well, what you do is you measure the currency supply, so the amount of dollars outstanding, whether you measure that as US dollars within the US or whether you add the euro, the yen, and so forth, and just add up the total amount of currency outstanding, and you divide it by the gold supply. So, but then once again, if you want a 40% gold reserve, 100%, whatever, all you do is do that calculation, and then you come up with your gold price, and so that's where he argues in this video. Someone else is also arguing for a reset, that we're going to have a reset. So let's cut to a clip and see what this person's got to say.
We're actually making calls here. This won't happen by Q1. I think we make 99 on the dollar index, and then we'll have some softening. Then we'll set up, and then we'll have a major surge in dollar. And that's pointing to the divergence that people are not noticing and this is your headline on The Economist Time magazine for 2022 and 2023. The divergence of the economic zones, and this is going to cause too much dollar strength and FX emerging currency failure. And that's how you lead into a Bretton Woods system. And you may not get very much time trading freely for gold in this environment. They may go straight to a revaluation, with some of it being, with many of the central bank digital tokens, which is where I believe they want to take us, being held. And there's nation states that have a large amount of gold, have a sort of implied greater tethering relevance because of that. And they might just do an entire revaluation of gold. You might not ever see it trade honestly at its true reflected price. It will just, we could just transition. And we were chatting, but I mean, just imagine, to throw a blue sky thing out. And this is where my spitballing analysis comes in. Just imagine post a reset in a central bank digital token, they just revalue gold at I'll throw a ridiculous number out just to expand people's minds of what's possible, 100,000 and silver $10,000. And they say that's it, because they might want to future-proof their new system against further inflationary policies. Whatever system they introduce, government is going to want the right to run an inflationary shell game of proliferation of money. That is their axis of control. Reducing the money supply is never in the interest although they do create deflationary events when they want to let out a bit of steam and shake out leverage traders. Retailers usually pay that as a tax, and those things can happen. So in all of those events, one of my concerns for us all will be we may be obliged to register as holders of precious metals. I think they're going to first want a registering list to know, and they might go to all bullion vault dealers and by a law and diktats force them to disclose everyone who's purchased, and then you'll be on a list. And then later they might do one of two things: pass on a huge capital gains tax when they do a revaluation, like they did on the $35 from 20, only it'll be on a much bigger scale, in my opinion, or attempt confiscation, which is the real black-pilled option on the basis of, that would be global communism, in essence. So on that cheery note, I don't know if I've answered your question in full, but I've taken you on a journey there of possible outcomes. But despite that, you've got to buy the insurance, because I'd much rather pay a capital gains tax on something that gets revalued and be one of the few people that gets truly saved when we go through this key transition. It's almost like the Shawshank Redemption, if you can remember the movie. And forgive my language here, but you're going to have to crawl through the shit pipe in terms of getting through this transition period to get that freedom on the other side, where he stands in the river in the rain with his hands raised like this, and he's finally free from his travesty. But he had the final journey, and I think we're coming to that point. Where for the freedom that we aim for on the other side, hopefully, politics dependent, there's going to be a heck of a pipe to crawl through to get there. So I don't know if that gives a little bit of color to looking forward into the future and how I think they will play the game, the control structures of the world, government.
So there you've got Francis Hunt, who is also calling for a reset, and he thinks that as we move to central bank digital currency, that they'll need to reset gold and build themselves a buffer. And once again, similar argument to Luke Gromen in terms of reducing the debt to GDP so they can continue the inflationary monetary game that is what they do. And what he also mentioned in there was about registering assets. And what I'm actually hearing right now is that Europe is in the process of registering everyone's assets. So maybe he's onto something. Maybe that's what happens, and all of our assets are registered and revalued, and we pay a capital gains tax or some sort. But yeah, I did this video earlier in the year, silver's shocking true price revealed. Actually, a couple of months ago, I think I did this one, where Francis Hunt basically just shows the manipulation in the market, the after hours paper trading, and how much after hours trading is done, and what the true price should actually be, which was quite interesting. By the way, I'll put a link in the description to all these videos if you haven't yet watched them, both the Luke Gromen ones and this. Now, earlier in the year, I did this video, $175 silver, then reset to $5,126. And what this video was about, and where we got, or where Francis Hunt got these numbers to reset silver to 5,126, is the US debt clock. So here we've got the usdebtclock.org, and on the right hand side you can see the dollar to silver ratio, which is $2,937 an ounce. Now, when we did that video earlier in the year where Francis Hunt had that number at over $5,000 an ounce, you can see that it's obviously reduced quite a bit, and that's because it's a measure of the year-over-year increase in US M2 currency supply divided by the yearly world production of silver. So it's not the total amount of dollars outstanding versus the total amount of silver outstanding. It's the year-over-year increase. So personally, I don't think this is a good tool to measure. I don't think it's the right way to go back onto a gold or silver standard, or to or to revalue gold or silver. In fact, I believe that there is another way, a better way at doing this, and perhaps it could be coming as early as next year. And I'm going to do a video on this in the near future. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I'm going to do a video on this in the very near future. And I think possibly it could begin to happen very shortly. So I did this video earlier in the year, Basel 3 equals $855 silver, and that $855 wasn't my target, it was someone else's. So you watch a video, you'll see it's their target, not mine. But then we had some changes around Basel 3 as the year went on. I did this video, Basel 3 equals $855 silver update. And then we had Basel 3 equals $855 silver game on. So the update video was about the changes where the LBMA, we thought they were getting a reprieve from the prudential regulator in the UK. And then we had this video where it seems that maybe not so. Well, we're going to find out soon enough, because Basel 3 comes into play next month. So we're going to find out very soon whether gold, we start to see the paper contracts wound down, and we start to see the true price of, or the true value of gold. But basically, I'm going to do a video in the very, very near future. It'll probably be my first video in the new year, where I share the other way of revaluing gold and silver. And I think it makes more sense. And Basel 3 could actually be the trigger or the thing to do it. Now, the central authorities, the central planners don't want to do this. They don't want to revalue gold and silver. They may be forced to, though. And in fact, they may be at that point where already where they have to cave and do it. But if they had their choice, they wouldn't do it. Okay, but for all the reasons that all these people have shared, they may have no other choice but to do it. And if that's the case, then that's where you'll want to have that insurance. You'll want to have some gold and silver if that is the case. And even if they do register our assets and we do pay a capital gains tax on something that's revalued, so be it. However, I think that the revaluation could come through Basel 3 and through this calculation, which I'll share in this next video. So stay tuned for that one. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you again on another episode of Finance Uncut.